Wait, so we're not going to explain anything around Melee? Like, we're just like, hey, what's up, Melee? You want to join the party? Sure, I'll join the party. Let's go on a carriage ride together. Like, I seen it in the PV, and I'm like, okay, how do we get from she's trying to kill everybody in the mansion, like she's literally an assassin that's sent to kill them, and then suddenly we're cutting scenes. Like, this is literally the next time that we see her in the anime is right here. She's playing with dolls, and Subaru comes up and says, hey, bro, want to join us? Sure, let's go on a carriage ride. Like, I'm assuming the light novel explains that a lot more, but I mean, I come to my conclusions around the idea that she's afraid of Mom, that she failed her mission, and maybe potentially she feels like she's safer with Subaru. Like, he's going to take me to where the mob beasts are, and maybe I can get some mob beasts to protect me or something like that. Like, she has a greater fear here than over here. But it's like, why does Subaru trust her? Like, I know that they were friends and everything, but there was a whole thing about her, tricking them and, infiltrating and all that kind of... Anyways, we'll get into that when we get into it. But yes, ReZero is finally back. Season 4 is here, episode 67. Super excited to see the series come back. And of course, just like before, I will be covering it from an anime-only perspective. Yes, for all the light novel readers, yes, you're probably in the comments already saying, well, actually with Melee, this... Don't worry, I'm not reading those comments. I'm keeping it anime only until I get around to actually reading the light novel. For now, I'm just enjoying the ride in the anime itself. So that's what that is. But I will be covering it again this season. I do really enjoy this series, and we'll just see where it takes us. We'll just see where it takes us. But yeah, episode 67, really solid episode. Nice little bridge between the two seasons, obviously kind of pushing us off in the next story arc. The aftermath of everything that happened with especially lust and gluttony. Seeing that obviously Julius has lost his name. I did like how the beginning parts of this episode sort of does put to, a spotlight how it seems like everybody afflicted by gluttony is damaged in different ways. Like, specifically with Julius, it's just his name. Like, it's taken his name, nobody knows who he is, but Julius himself still knows who he is. And then you have situations like, yeah, Rim. Like, her entire consciousness is gone. Like, she is just basically a vegetable right now. And then you have individuals like Krush who lost who they are, but people still know who she is. So we have 3 different perspectives right now. Complete loss. One side lost, the other side lost. And it's interesting to kind of see that that's kind of finally spotlighted here. And I'm kind of curious if eventually they will get into what that means. Why is there a difference in how they're affected? Is it the different individuals and how they attack? Is it what they specifically find tasty or whatever? Like, they only eat a certain part they find tasty? Is it purposely done in a way to just cause fear for people? Like the fear of losing yourself? Because, I mean, technically Julius brings that up in this episode. When he's talking to Subaru, he says, what's worse, being forgotten or forgetting? And trying to see which one's a worse fear there. And unfortunately, one of the worst sides of Subaru, he just kind of just brushes off and says, whatever, stop saying crap like that. Stop being a kicked puppy, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I like this kind of addressing. I like to address this idea of the fears of, yes, being forgotten or forgetting. The idea that you don't know if you knew something, like the unknowns that you may have had with something, having a connection with somebody and then losing that connection and seeing that pain in their eyes, or the reverse happening. The reverse pain happening. But no, as they're addressing this whole factor, we have Anastasia stepping up. Anastasia stepping up and saying, hey, I have an idea. We need to get some information on how to turn these individuals back and fix the memories of these individuals. Let's go to Shala the Sage, one of the 3 great heroes of Lagunica. And so that leads them to go on their next mission together, which, yes, we find out later on that Anastasia isn't Anastasia. I did find it interesting that it doesn't really make it clear when exactly it's Anastasia or when it's Echidona, but I like the fact that when they're addressing the idea of the friendships between these soldiers, Julius and Reinhardt and all that kind of stuff like that, at some point Anastasia goes and touches the pelt on her shoulder. Now again, I'm not sure if that is Anastasia and she's touching the pelt because it's Echidona right there and talking about their being companions or whatever, or if Echidona was already in control right there. And maybe potentially that is sort of a symbolizing of her friend or his friend. I think it says Boku, whatever. Its friend, Anastasia. I thought that was kind of a nice little touch of detail right there that I didn't notice the first time because I didn't know that's what the direction they were going with their character. But yes, later on, as they're traveling, to find out from Subaru confronting Anastasia that it's not actually Anastasia. And the way that he sort of figures this out is that, amongst other things, it seems like, specifically the fact that she is downplaying one of her men. The fact that he got his arm injured and how she's just kind of playing it off like, oh yeah, it sucks that he got injured or whatever. I like this because, yes, of course, them pointing this out, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about this. I completely forgot this was something they were setting up. That, yes, technically, last season, when we had the whole situation where Anastasia and Fettis and Al were taking on Capella, They mentioned something to the effect of, wow, yeah, we were in danger, but then Anastasia blasted her face off or whatever. And then suddenly Al goes, wait, who are you? I was like, oh yeah, I remember that whole part right there where Al called her out. The fact that, no, Anastasia doesn't use magic. No, this is not something that she does. And again, that was one of those moments where at the time I was more caught on like, oh, wow, this is another sign that Al has kind of, experienced this whole thing before and that he knows Anastasia for only doing this one thing, getting into that whole looping theory around Al himself. But yeah, right here, it's finally confirming that, yes, this isn't the Anastasia we know. But it's still Anastasia. It does get into the fact that, yes, there is an individual that is Echidona or Foxdona, whatever you want to call it, is implementing itself into Anastasia as a vessel, and that Anastasia herself is unconscious in her own. And this individual, Echidona, wants to figure out, because they love Anastasia so much, they want to help bring her back out. That she's kind of given up her consciousness to Echidona, and that's why they want to go to this sage in order to figure out how to bring her back out. And it's all for the sake of protecting her. And again, it does get into exactly the whole thing about what Al was saying, that yes, because they're inside of Anastasia's body, they're able to tap into their gate and use magic. Something that, again, Anastasia seemingly is not able to do. They're able to pull that off. Much to, yes, the danger of her, but they're kind of pointing out that, hey, her life's in danger anyways. Back there with Capella, they kind of had to. She was going to die either way. That was interesting, yes, for sure, that they kind of finally confirmed that there is another individual inside of Anastasia and that they're kind of coexisting with each other. I'm hoping eventually they'll get into more about what their relationship is. It does get into the fact that, yes, she's called Echidona, and that's what sets off Subaru, obviously, because he's got his experience with the Echidona, not really too positive. Immediately goes down to like the straight negative route, the idea of, oh crap, were you the one that caused everything that happened there? No, misunderstanding's happening. Chill, Subaru, chill. Let's take a step back a little bit here. No, didn't do anything there. It seems like the only thing they know about themselves is the fact that they are an artificial spirit, just like, Byakko, and the fact that they are named Echidona. Now, because of those two things together, that does sort of imply to me this has something to do with what Echidona was doing that we got into with the second season. That potentially this Echidona, this artificial spirit, was created by Echidona for some sort of purpose, a vessel or something like that. That's sort of where my mind kind of goes. I kind of assume that there's going to be some sort of link with her and what they did with Byakko. It's just what that's going to be is the question mark. Hopefully, as this season goes through, maybe potentially at some point we'll find out about that. If they end up going to this sage for the sake of trying to help Anastasia, maybe potentially during that process we'll find out what this Echidona itself is and why it's there. I mean, it also gets in the idea of how did Anastasia even acquire this? I'm assuming it's probably the pelt. Like she bought the pelt at some point because it's supposed to be her real body, or its real body, and she's been wearing the thing and it is her actual vessel. And at some point, I'm assuming it then went from the actual pelt into her mind, into her consciousness. I do admit this is kind of one of those moments where I want to go back into like the previous episodes and all the scenes where Anastasia is and sort of see if there is sort of a personality difference between each scene. Like, are there moments where she seems more confident? Is there moments where she seems like she's afraid and then suddenly she gets some sort of encouragement? I kind of wonder. Again, it doesn't really make it clear how long she has been unconscious in the Ode. Echidona says that they want to go to the sage to figure out how to bring her back, thus implying that currently Anastasia is not wanting to come back. Like she's in there and she's not wanting to come out. I don't know. Either way, another interesting thing to sort of give Anastasia a little bit more complexity. I was kind of curious to see more of her character and get into her story more with this season, so I'll take it. But yeah, they go to the mansion where they end up reporting to Rosewall, like the little brave moment of like bad-mouthing Otto. Oh, Garf did a good job. Oh yeah, it looks like Otto did a good job, but he was reckless or whatever like that. We just have to keep mean to Otto. But yes, they're there in order to pick up both Rem and Millie, apparently. The Rem thing I find to be very interesting because before this, we had that conversation with Anastasia or Echidona. It sort of does imply the idea that Subaru has sort of a choice about who is going to be put first. I don't really know why specifically they were bringing that up, sort of implying the idea that Subaru, you're allowed to be selfish. You might as well be selfish. Like, use your opportunity here to get the first in line. I would assume that once they figure out how to help Rem, the same method will be used to save everybody else. Unless they're implying the idea that whatever method they might find might be limited? Question mark? That's why I think it's sort of flagging. By having Echidona state that you're going to have priority that you can set, go ahead, does imply to me that, yes, they're not going to get to fixing Julius. They're not going to get to fixing Crush right now. That he's going to find out that it's limited and he's going to choose Rem, which I'm not against. Like, I'm not against him being selfish, especially when Rem is as powerful as she is, how like faithful that she is to specifically Subaru. The others are from different camps. As much as he is a bro to Julius, and Julius is a bro, as much as Crush is great and Crush did ally with them in the past, yes, putting Rem first is important, and it does make sense. And it does sort of tie in with the conversation with Rem a little bit, the idea that Rem's like questioning him, making a pervy comment, like, I just washed her and got her ready, don't look over like a pervert or whatever. It does play a little bit into the idea that he is thinking emotionally and not logically about wanting to save Rem, and the idea that, yes, technically anybody could wake her up. Technically anybody can be at her side. He wants Rem to be there in front of her when she wakes up, whatever. But he wants to be the one that wakes her up. He is choosing emotions and is choosing that he wants to be the one that will cure her and bring her back. Which, again, it's selfish, but it's true. It's being honest. It's fine. I do think there's a little bit of this that sort of does edge on the element of regret, that he feels regret for what happened to Rem and he's wanting to undo that he wants to fulfill this promise of saving her. But anyways, that aside, yes, we do have him go confront Melly. And again, I'm sure that the light novel explains a lot better. I can come to my assumptions, so it's not like it's a big deal here. But yes, I did kind of find it funny that he goes downstairs, Melly turns around in a panic. I'm guessing that he caught her playing with the dolls. The anime almost makes it out like he just walks in the room and she's already done playing with the dolls. Like the door opening stops her and then she turns around like she's afraid of Subaru. But I'm assuming that he caught her playing with the dolls and that she's embarrassed. Either way, yes, he confronts Melly about going with them to this tower because there's going to be a bunch of mobbies there and that he needs her help. And she's like, yeah, sure. Oh, I know but I need your... Oh, you do want to go. Okay, cool. It implies that Melly, I guess because she failed to kill them, is afraid of the person that sent them, which I'm guessing is Mom. Mom sent them to kill them, and she failed, and thus she's afraid of Mom. That she's been cooped up in this mansion ever since then because I'm guessing Rosewall is protecting her from being killed by Mom or the Assassin's Group or whatever, and that's why she's not left. And now that Subaru's offering her to go somewhere else, she's like, sure, cool, I'll go with you. Like, maybe potentially she can get more mobbies to protect her, shield her or whatever, because currently she doesn't have anything. I don't know. I get why right now Rosewall and them are not afraid of Melly, because she doesn't have mobbies. She is a tamer. That's typically with taming classes. Yeah, once you don't have your pets, you're pretty much just this little thing just waiting to get killed. I get why they're not afraid of her now, but the question is why they're okay with taking her to the tower that supposedly is surrounded by very powerful mob beasts. Like, she literally says, I go there to get my mob beasts. Like, yeah, I've been over there before. I got some over there before. Why are they okay with going there with her where she can literally command them to just swarm? Like, where you have a fear of this place because of mobbies, but now we're going to go there where she can literally swarm us with all of it at the same time. It's weird. I don't really understand it, but I get it in the idea that technically before everything happened and she was, killing them, they were friends. Like, she does like Petra. Like, she even said in the previous season, like, I like my friend Petra. I want to protect her, whatever, but I got my job to do, whatever. I'll make sure it's, like, painless or something like that. I think she said something like that. I could be wrong. I get they were friends. I get that. But there was also the fact that she was infiltrating, and that's why she was being a friend. But it goes to the whole thing of, like, enemy one day, friend the next. It's fine. Now that she doesn't have orders, it's not that she wants to kill anybody. She's had orders, and now that she doesn't have orders because she failed, she's got nothing. And so now they're sort of giving her a place. That's sort of where I come to conclusion on. It's still cool, though, because I don't want Melly to die. I'm cool with her joining them. I like the idea of a tamer class. I think that stuff's really, really cool. And I'll be curious to see how they kind of use that in the fights to come. That leads us to the final scene. Yes, Garf got me crying, got me all tear-eyed. Garf goes back to talk to Mom one last time and, console her because she's currently going with this whole situation about her husband currently being frozen. I like Mimi there at his side, give him a little encouragement. Go on in there, boy. You could do it. I love Mimi support my boy. But no, yeah, him going in there and her talk about the fact that she's sure that he's going to come back. She's not worried that her husband's going to come back. I had nothing before. He gave me this family and everything. And yes, eventually, Garf, little breakdown happening. I like that. She's like, can I ask you something? Why are you so concerned about us? Well, because you're always looking like you're breaking, you guys are falling apart. I gotta come here and help you guys out. And then, yeah, her saying, why do you look like you're about to cry? And he starts crying. Mom. I hate it because I thought for a brief moment a connection happened. Like, she realized it. Now, she could subconsciously have realized it. Like, there's that mama nature. Like, her mama nature came out. Like, that primal instincts as a mother. This is my boy. I need to embrace him or whatever. Like, there could be somewhere subconsciously she knows that's her son. But, like, with the statement that was made later on that I'll be a replacement mother for you, whatever, I'm like, it didn't happen. I thought that they came to a realization there, but it's still great. The fact that he just breaks down. She freaking just embraces him. You did good. You're a good boy. He's like, yeah, I worked really hard. I couldn't save everybody. Yo, you did a good job, boy. I'm like, no, my eyes. I'm crying. You're crying. No, it's raining. It was great. It was great. Seeing that finally him making that connection with her was like really fantastic. Because again, it seemed like every time he got close to it with the previous season, no, he couldn't do it. Like, he couldn't do it. Here he finally embraces her and finally lets it out. It was great. It was great. And yeah, having that little kind of touch at the very end there, the idea that they weren't forgotten. I think that was like the significance, and that's honestly the significance of the names, is at the very end, you know, saying, hey, yeah, make sure to say goodbye or whatever. And then he realizes, wait, their names? Yeah, Raphael and Fred. These are two names that are legit Garfield and Frederica. It proves that despite the fact that his mother had lost all of her memories and that she was a shell that was then discovered later on and brought into this family and having these two kids, there's still somewhere in there she remembers Garf and Frederica. Somewhere in there, when she was going to name these two children, she said, what should I name them? I remember a Frederica and a Garfield. For some reason, Frederica and Garfield come in my mind. Why? Why those two names are coming to my mind? She didn't forget them. In the end, she didn't forget the two of them. Which is like, got French again. We just got done watching him cry, and that makes you hurt because, you know, strong, gorgeous tiger. Strong, gorgeous tiger is crying, and now this is happening. It's like, stop making me cry. It was super good. It was super good. I love it. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all the key story points of this episode. Again, really solid episode. Really enjoy seeing the series come back. Looking forward to where we go next. Meeting the Shallow the Sage, getting into all that stuff, and seeing what comes up next. I did note that, yes, at some point they did say that this tower was the place where the seal was for the Witch of Envy, which does sort of kind of play into my theories around the PV, which I don't want to get too much details for those that didn't watch the PV. But that does sort of kind of line up with that. So that does make me very curious as what's to happen next. Like, what all is going to happen at this tower? Like, it having the sage there, it having the seal there, kind of makes you think that what's to come is going to be very crazy. But we'll see when we get there. I hope you guys will join me on a weekly basis as I cover this series. I hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, if you hit the like button down below, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, become a member. Until next time, I'll take care.